Welcome back to Buckets, WNBA edition. I'm your host, Jim Turvey. It is a Monday. It means we've got Dano Mataya in the house. That means we have Santa Claus Mataya in the house. If you were on Twitter today, you know the second half of this episode is going to be a mailbag episode for which Dano is giving out some toys, some real cool gifts and stuff. We'll talk through all that in a little bit. Dano, how you been? How was the weekend? I know we were just talking through. It was kind of another crazy night in the W, and that you were on the wrong side of. But how are things going overall?
Yeah, I got rocked. No. So I mean, I swear to God, I have not won a bet on a Sun game. I've been mean to take them, and of course, like the one time I do, they don't cover. They only lost by 16, but it was like they were down 30. After the Libs might have said they were down 30. Just teams were shooting the shit out of the ball against me. That's okay. Weekend was good. It was spent driving. I spent the last 2 weeks in Colorado, but I'm glad to be back in Texas and ready to get back on the win streak. Let's get going.
Excellent. I love it. Yeah, let's like teased out that we'll do a little mailbag in the second half here, but let's just get right to it. It's a 3-game slate, pretty good slate. But real quick before that, we'll say as a reminder, our WNBA projections are available in the Action Network app. So if you're looking for an edge betting WNBA sides, totals, or player props, Action Pro projections are a perfect tool for your toolbox this season. If you aren't an Action Pro subscriber yet, you can get $20 off an annual subscription right now. Just visit actionnetwork.com/pro to sign up. That's $20 off the annual subscription price at actionnetwork.com/pro. Tuesday slate. We have got the Valkyries at the Dream -8, total 157.5. In that game, we've got Monique Billings, game time decision. We got Kayla Thornton obviously out. This is the third game of her since she went out for the season. And on the other side of things, Ryan Howard missing another game. Not great for any of the folks who got on that Ryan Howard to lead the season in threes. That's starting to fade a little bit with each game she misses. Second game of the night, we got Chicago Sky at the Washington Mystics. This number has been bouncing around a little bit. I'm going to say Washington -7 right now. I've seen 6.5, so I've seen 7.5. The total is also 157.5. This game, we've got Ariel Atkins out. We've got Michaela Onyewere and HVL as game time decisions. We got Angel Reese probable after missing a couple games. And then we got Aaliyah Edwards missing another game for Washington. And finally, we've got the Aces at the Sparks. Aces are laying 2.5 here on the road. Totals 173. We got 2 clean bills of health here. We'll talk about this game a little bit because it is the season debut of Cameron Brinks. So fully clean bill of health for the Sparks. Obviously, Cheyenne Parker-Ty is still out for the Aces. There's been some chatter for trying to get back, but she's still out for the time being. So with all of that said, Dano, why don't you rattle off your best bets, and then we'll come back and do logic on them in a second. But what are your best bets for Tuesday?
I'm taking the Sky +7.5, +7. And I'm taking the Sparks, I guess, if you can find +3.5, +3.5, or I'm taking them on the money line, like +125.
I love it. My best bets for Tuesday, I've got Asia Wilson over 3.5 assists. I've got a little same game parlay here that I'll talk through. Tiffany Hayes under 13.5 points. Valk's team total under 74.5. Same game parlay those together. You get +178. And I've got a lean on Brianna Jones under 18.5 points plus rebounds. So let's go through this game by game. Let's start with this Valkyries at Dream game. So you don't have a bet here. You have a bet on the other 2 games. So we'll maybe get your thoughts on the game as a whole. I'll talk through my little same game parlay here to start. Actually, let's start. Get your thoughts on the game in general. I don't have a bet for this. Just get your thoughts real briefly, and then I'll talk through my little same game parlay I put together.
I mean, like it. I feel like Dream -8 is extremely square and extremely smart. I mean, the Valks are like, we know they're pretty bad on the road, but the Dream are coming off an incredible road trip where they knocked off Phoenix in Phoenix, and then knocked off the Lynx in Minnesota, the only team to beat the Lynx this year in Minnesota. You have to think it's kind of a letdown spot, but the Valks look pretty depleted on the road. You lose by 31 to the Sun. It says a lot. But with the way the league is, I wouldn't blame you if you took the Valks. But I do like that team total under. I mean, Valk games, tend to go under either way. So, and I feel like the Dream covered, and like line was very similar. I think they won by 9. Valks were covering the whole game last time they played, and then Dream ran away with it in the fourth. Yeah, I mean, I might end up taking like Atlanta on the money line, but like parlay it was something. Like I do like that team total under though that you mentioned.
Yeah, so I was leaning towards the Dream. Basically, a lot of the things you said. I mean, you're very locked in. We've talked about how you bet the league. And you talk about kind of spots and patterns that you recognize. One thing I have noticed is it kind of happens time and time again. So we had Kayla Thornton go out 3 games ago. It always seems like the first game that the star player, the high usage player goes out, the team does well. They it's almost like this, exactly. They rally. They have the initial adrenaline boost. The second game, things start to fall apart, and then it's crawling back and eventually getting to leveling out to where Kayla Thornton's probably about 2 points to the spread. So it kind of is like you get this initial pop, then a quick drop, and then you kind of crawl back. So I wanted to kind of be on the side. I think that they're in the crawling back stage. I think they'll continue to improve without her theoretically if no other players go out. But I have a lot of questions. This is a really good Dream defense, first of all. Atlanta, got, I think, a top 3 defense in the league if you look at by points per game. And here's the thing. I don't think that this Valkyries team is really going to be able to hang in this game or really score. Like you said, Valks, they can always play really good defense. And that's why, Atlanta scares me at times with, the ability to kind of have the offense go missing. So I don't see a way that this offense scores 75 points unless Tiffany Hayes is having a good game. She's kind of the pivot point. So if I like both those plays, I think parlaying them together, the books know that they're correlated, but I don't think they have the correlation priced in quite heavily enough. I think the Valkyries are really going to be heavy on Hayes here for 4 points if they're going to get into that 75-point range. It's also another way to fade. We've talked all season about the wonkiness of these rotations, and especially the Valkyries. So here's the minutes last 5 games for Tiffany Hayes: 26, 33, 20, 31, 21. It's all over the place, right? Some that's blowouts, but that's the thing. There are a lot of blowouts in the league right now. You can leverage that for unders potentially, especially with a team like the Valks where their minutes are just not super consistent night to night. So I like putting the 2 of those together. You can have plus 178 at DraftKings. Some of the other books didn't have it out yet, so I'm going to do my due diligence, shop it around, and I'll post it in the app before we are posted overnight, so you'll be able to see that there. Dano, let's go on to the Chicago-Washington game. You're on the Chicago side here. I don't have any bets for this game. I had been eyeing Washington and then got really spooked because Angel's coming back. And I think that she is pretty important. I know that Atkins is still out, and she does a lot for the offense, but you have faith in Chicago to cover at least with like the 7.5, 7 that you're seeing out there.
Yeah, I was riding this Sky team total under train up until it died, and I think it died because Haley Van Lith didn't play. And sorry, disrespect to her, but like giving more shots and more opportunities to Rachel Banham is like a real thing. Rachel Banham is a lights out shooter. We're talking about a player who scored, 50 or I don't know. I want to say I feel like she had 60 in a college game. I had at least 50. But she's a scorer, she's a shooter, and the Sky were getting up a ton of threes, playing very well in their last game against the Fever. To me, this is purely based on the fact that Angel's coming back, and Angel is a just different type of beast for this team. She's equally as important on offense and defense, and I think surrounding her with shooters, I think this could be a big Angel Reese assist game. Having her and Rebecca Allen, Rachel and Rebecca Allen on the outside could be big. Cardoso's playing well. I just don't think I think the Sky are trending upwards, put it that way. I mean, like with talk about losing a player in Ariel Atkins and things falling apart. I think they're getting out of that crawl stage, and this is a perfect opportunity to maybe even steal one on the road. The battle for the 8th seed is going to be insane either way. So, I mean, I know the Mystics are right in the thick of it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not brave enough to take the money line here, but I think Sky can hang within 7.
100%. I mean, if you zoom out and look at this and just say like that's a lot of points for two teams that are, the Mystics are ahead of the Sky in the standings for sure because they've been more consistent. But pure talent wise, these teams are vaguely in the same tier. 7.5 points. If we're getting 7.5, even 7 is a lot of points. So I like that side of it, or at least I'm not fully on the other side once I looked into it. Let's talk through this last game. This is probably the most interesting game of the night. Tightest spread. We've got, potential first time Kelsey's hosting the Aces in LA. They've played twice, but both games were in Las Vegas. We got clean bills of health. We got Cameron Brinks season debut. We've got Jewel Lloyd now on the bench, and the Aces look good. Talk to me about being on the Sparks side for spread/money line.
I mean, I think the wrong team's favored.
Yeah.
Really plain and simple. I mean, there's a letdown opportunity after that, buzzer beater win in New York, but you get back home, you got everybody back. I mean, this is definitely a rivalry for players involved with Dearica Hamby's past and Kelsey Plum, obviously. And I think, sure, the Aces had some great shooting against a poor Dallas defense and lack of Paige Beckers. So they're got to be feeling good, put up 100-plus points. I think Sparks are, they've covered 5 straight. They're hot. They've won 5 straight. I thought about it a couple weeks ago, like, man, Sparks can rattle off some wins, playoffs is plus 430. I check now, it's plus 130. I should have bet it. To me, these teams are not that far off. And Sparks are at home, should be a good crowd. I think they get the win here.
Yeah, so it's funny. I was eyeing this game like a couple days out, being like, man, I'm going to be all over the Sparks here. I am a tiny bit nervous that the Jewel Lloyd to the bench thing is a thing. We'll talk about the Aces a bunch in the second half. I'm guessing you are not buying this as much, and you're saying this is that one game pop, and now it's going to come back to earth and be the exact same Aces that they've kind of shown us to be. Am I correct in my assessment of how Dano's reading this game?
Yeah, I'll take my chances. If Jewel Lloyd can have 20 in back-to-back games in 2025, well done. She's not that good. She's just not. I know there's some mental stuff there too, like, maybe motivating her, like sending her to the bench. But, prove it to me.
Yeah, more than one game.
Yeah, and like, I think defensively, the team is going to have some issues. Like, still, you're replacing. Jewel Lloyd's not a good defender. Chelsea Gray's not a good defender. Kristen Bell's not a good defender. I think I trust 2 players out there that can actually guard. And I think Sparks are looking pretty damn good. I think Julie Allman is playing great at point. Kelsey is playing, unselfishly. I think she was. They could have easily folded in that game at New York. Really battled throughout. I think it was like shot for shot, like game at like 6 ties in the last 3 minutes. So yeah, I'm taking the Sparks, and I'm not looking back.
I love it. So my play here is the Asia Wilson assist, and there is a little bit of the belief in the Jewel thing. I want to see it for a couple more games too before I'm betting them. I'm certainly not betting them in this game. I think there's a very good chance that they are, like you said, I think there's a decent chance the wrong team is favored here. That being said, I do think the Aces offense looked a little bit better, and I think it makes a little bit more sense with Jewel coming off the bench and kind of floating that really bad bench unit. Now, where I think you can ask questions is, can she float a bench unit? I think that's totally fair to ask against a non-Dallas defense. Now, granted, Sparks defense hasn't been outstanding, but you've got Cameron Brink back. But back to Asia, I thought that the Aces offense looked a lot better in this last game. Asia had 7 assists in that game. The offense just flowed a little better. And if we think, the Aces are favored in this game, She's averaging 4.1 assists in her wins, 2.6 in the losses. And mostly those losses are the really tough losses. That's when she's not getting assists. So the better the offense is flowing, the more Asia Wilson assists we see. Against the Sparks defense that allows second most points per game, third most assists per game. Yes, Brink is back. But I think if anything, Brink's going to be used. Her length is going to, deter Asia from shooting and encourage her to pass more. So you can get this at plus money right now. I'll like it at anything plus money. I think it's like almost at plus 130 right now. So Asia's cleared this, more often than not. So I'm looking at the assist angle here for Asia. Did you have thoughts on either this play or the game as a whole?
No, I just feel like Asia assist is almost automatic at this point.
She's really, this season has been a big increase in that kind of playmaker role for her, for sure.
I was going to say 7 straight overs to the Sparks. Like, I don't know. Yeah, they're flying over. I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't want to, I'm going to bet it. Probably spread the floor. I mean, I don't care if it's 175, 176. What's it at?
I think it was 173 last I saw. So I think you got some room.
Well, yeah. I think this game hits 180, and I'm just gonna stop messing around. Just bet the over.
This is if you're doing your same game parlay stuff and you're looking for overs, because some books will only allow those. This is probably the game to eye. I did realize real quick. I'll finish this up with, I forgot to mention a lean I had in that first game we talked about. This is Brianna Jones under her points and rebounds. These ones have been tricky. So this is a cap off of rotation trends of late. But these have, again, it feels like these are ones where I keep catching the timing wrong. So I'm making this a lean more than a best bet. But her minutes have been trending down. The last 6 games, she's averaging 8.3 points, 5.5 rebounds, most notably 23.4 minutes. Last game, she played just 15 minutes in what was a really good win in Minnesota that you shouted out. Now, the Valks defense is a really good defense. This is a tough matchup for, points and rebounds in general. The Valks are a weirdly good rebounding team despite not having huge size. The defense actually gets better without Kayla Thornton on the court. Now, I don't know if, there's a little bit of noise in that about, bench units and stuff like that. But I think overall, Brianna Jones, for great players, it seems like she's being the one phased out right now. Atlanta's kind of always trying to figure out their double big situation. So again, these rotation patterns have been so wonky this season that I hesitate to make it a best bet. But I am going to lean on the under with Brianna Jones, 18.5 points and rebounds. Dano, you got any thoughts before we move along to Survivor?
Do I have any thoughts? I feel like that. I mean, it could be a matchup where Brianna Jones eats. She's due.
It is scary because it could be a game she plays 28, 29 minutes again all of a sudden, because there hasn't been a huge rhyme or reason to some of these rotations with first-year coaches this season.
Yeah.
Because Temi's a good defender, but she's a little bit undersized. She does seem like the type that Brianna would have success against.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready for Survivor.
All right, let's roll the Survivor. We are down to minus 300 this week. Dano and I are both alive for the real Survivor, the ones with me and Dano on the pod. We are at minus 300. Should I buy you another couple seconds? Are you scrolling through right now?
Nah, you go first. I have 2, and I want you to help me pick.
Okay,
I'm playing an advantage, and I'm giving you 2 choices. I'm giving you 2 choices, and I need you to help me pick the one.
Perfect. All right, I've got Kelsey Plum 15 plus points. This is at minus 235 on FanDuel. She's hit this in 20 of 24 games this season. Bad East's defense we just talked about. I think this is going to be a points galore type of game. We haven't even gotten the full revenge game from her yet. Now, whether revenge games exist or not is obviously up for debate. But, I mean, I don't think she would mind having a good game against the Aces in her first game in LA hosting them. Plus, this is a number she typically gets to. I love the 15 for her. You get the threes. Obviously, she is a big three-point shooter. Cameron Brinks back, but she's not a high-usage player. If anything, she's going to draw potentially more attention in the post and be able to kick that out. So I'm going with Kelsey Plum minus 235. Dano, rattle me off your 2 options. Let's see if we can work through this.
They're both dream players. They're both guards. Jordan Canada, 10 plus points at minus 275.
Okay.
Alicia Gray, 15 plus points at minus 240.
So Alicia Gray was my first look. And it talked.
Okay, I don't want it. If you didn't like it, I'm not taking your backups. No.
but I looked at Canada,
It
too.
is your choice. It is your choice.
I think Gray is better. My only thought, Canada is a little bit less consistent, is one thing.
Sure.
But I think that Natalie does an amazing job of scheming for the best players, and I think Alicia is the best player. So that I literally had this exact thought because I agreed. I thought that this was potentially a good spot between the two. So I'm not very helpful. I'm talking you out of both of them somehow.
Yeah, I don't want them. I don't want either.
I think Gray.
All right, I got it. Okay. We're gonna go back to the tried and true. We're gonna. But all right. Sonja Citron 10 plus points at minus 290.
I love it.
Or Rachel Banham at minus 230 for 10 plus points.
I think you should go Banham.
It's more fun.
You shouted her out.
Yeah. I haven't bet on Rachel Banham yet. I should have. She had 26 points last game.
I love it.
It's a freak. Yeah. Minus 230. Rachel Banham, 10 plus points.
Love it. Lock it in. That's a fitting one to have. I feel good about that one too.
Let's see what that parlay at FanDuel is.
That's gotta be about plus money, right?
We're getting close. Plus 104.
Oh baby, plus 104. A nice clean right around coin flip for you. All right, we'll lock that in. We'll post that one in the app as well. I like that one. A couple of points alt points there.
Love it.
All right, Dano, I'm going to defer to you to just quickly set up what you did with this, but we put out a call for a mailbag. I say that we reward the people that listen as well, and we give folks one more, give them the morning and early tomorrow to respond to the Google sheet that you put out. Why don't you talk through some of the things they can win? But basically, we just said send us questions for our mailbag. Got a ton of responses. Honestly, you filled up what's going to be the next several episodes with questions, which is amazing. Got a cluster of some today that we'll answer. Got like over 50 responses though, and hopefully we get a couple more if people listen and want to get in. So Dana, if people go to your Twitter and they click the link, the Google form, what can they potentially win if they send us some questions?
Yeah. So and anyone who submitted is eligible, not just the questions we get to today. But
yes,
if you submitted a question, we ask for your email on there. We are going to select 3 at random. I like using randomwheelgenerator.com or whatever website it is. And the 3 prizes are a blaster box of WNBA cards. Like rookie Caitlin PSA 10 is like $250. So if you get that, good for you. A rookie Rickea Jackson auto. Rickea Jackson, one of the best rookies in that class. I don't know. It's probably valued at $100. And then a Kelsey Plum autographed jersey. We're giving those 3 away, and maybe we'll have more prizes to give. We'll see how the bets go, right?
If we have a win, we're more likely to get more prizes. So root for us on that front as well.
Yeah. When I do giveaways, I do giveaways all year on my Twitter, but things are going well when I'm doing a lot, and I think I've done less this year for sure. So, like college, I feel like it's weekly, but either way, awesome prizes. Thanks for submitting. We love the community, like the WNBA community in general, and awesome questions. It's really hard to filter out. There's so many fun ones. There's some that talk about futures, a lot of interesting topics. Some that were like, why is betting so hard? And I like this year, and it's like, I agree. Good Lord. But yeah, no, thank you everybody.
Yeah, thank you guys a bunch. So I put questions in like 4 chunks today. We probably tackle, looks like maybe a dozen of them over the course of basically 4 clusters here. But like I said, I want to get to all of these over the next couple of weeks. We'll kind of spread these out. We'll answer them all. Hopefully, there's some that could honestly be entire episodes. Really doing the work for us, just making it easy here. So, few that still need to get some research done and all that. Tried to go kind of in the order you guys submitted, but a few of them were so good that I didn't have time to do the full in-depth research that I thought I wanted to do to answer the questions. But we'll tackle this first cluster. I think this is a perfect place to start. We had a lot of questions about it and makes sense. Kind of title type of questions. So from Thomas, we had who has the longest odds currently that you think could win the championship if everything goes right for them. From Greg, we had is the finals a 2-horse race or do you see value in any other teams? From our boy Joe Dolera, we got are the Liberty inevitable? And then from Armani, we got, what are the chances Minnesota wins it all this season? Do they have the firepower to overcome New York? So kind of all title questions, a couple Minnesota specific, a little New York specific. I've got thoughts. I kind of tried to touch on briefly at least all these questions in this cluster, but I'll let you start, Dano, with kind of your title thoughts on as you see it right now.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, well, it's funny. I was telling somebody today, like, the Storm had their ceiling game today. Like they shot 70% through three quarters. So I that's probably where I draw the line, is at or above the Storm. Like, I don't think the Storm can do it. The Fever have better odds than the Dream right now, but I no. And have we seen a Commissioner Cup team win a title in the same year?
We have not.
Okay, just making sure. But it would kill me because I don't have a position, and maybe this question is like a sign from God to get a position. But it would kill me when with respect to who has the longest odds. I think the Dream at 20-1 is the lowest I'll go. I can't ship Seattle. I just can't. I can't ship the Fever, and I'm definitely well covered with Mercury, Lynx, or Liberty, and Exactas. So, and Mercury are low as plus 500 some places, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's interesting. I kind of thought you were going to draw the line right there at the Mercury and basically say it was a 3-team race. Maybe I am missing, the ceiling that Seattle or Atlanta or Indy have. I kind of think it's a 3-team race. I think that the fact that we have this 7-game finals right now is going to make it really tough for a team outside of the big three. And I think it really is a 3-team thing. We keep talking about how much we like the Mercury. I still think that, we now have Stewie with, a potential injury. We'll probably know more in time. We had a question about her injury that seemed fitting for today, but I didn't really have the answer to know enough about it. Did you have any thoughts on the Stewie traveling with the team question?
No. I mean, to me, you're going into Dallas thinking, no way she plays. We don't need her. We're gonna win this game.
Exactly.
It didn't happen. Sure, it's probably also good to play the Lynx, who is arguably the best team in the league without being at full strength, so they don't get to see what you have. You're not going to have Emma yet. I mean, I don't think we've ever seen a situation where a team is so good in midseason they add one of the best possible players possible without losing anyone in any sport. I'm trying to think about it. It's like if the Dodgers had Shohei sit out for a year because he actually did bet, and then and then they're in first place, and then midway through the year he's allowed to play or something. But it's completely different. This guy, Emma was not on the team, and now she's going to come in, and of course things, going to take time to gel. But like you said, over a 7-game series, the best teams usually do win. I don't know, but I mean, I cannot ignore the fact that what the Dream are doing shorthanded, and it gives Carl Semesco, who's a genius, options to look at different lineups that work against different schemes, different teams. Especially if the Dream are hitting threes, that's the ultimate equalizer. That's why March Madness is so amazing. If a team has a really hot month, I think Leo Fibich was the key to the Liberty Finals last year. She shot 50% in the playoffs on 70 attempts. That's incredible.
And she hasn't translated over. So I think to Joe's question of, are the Liberty inevitable? I would not go as far as inevitable. I honestly think they are priced correctly as the favorites. I think even with the Stewie injury, I don't think the Stewie injury is going to, keep her out for the rest of the season by any stretch of the imagination. So I think the Liberty are correctly favored. Minnesota, I really do want to keep an eye on down the stretch here, because I think that this question, and I really like the use from our mind here of firepower, because I actually do think that is kind of the thing that I want to see from Minnesota. They have the best player in the league for sure, but I do kind of struggle to see their like 2 through 7. They have an incredible 2 through 7, and they had that last year. But I do think the Liberty's 2 through 5 or whatever is notably better than Minnesota's. Kayla McBride isn't quite as strong this season. Courtney Williams having an awesome season. She didn't have the best finals though, and I do think that there are questions about Minnesota when they get into the postseason. And I just keep circling back to, I see Phoenix, a team that is barely just getting all their pieces together. If they get everyone healthy, I think Phoenix is the team that I think their odds are the furthest off, because you mentioned them being at like plus 500 at some books. They're also around plus 700 at others. I think that they should be much closer to Minnesota. I think the Liberty should be in that favorite spot. And listen, I get why Minnesota has to have such short odds. They're in the finals last year. They have the best record. They also have the second toughest schedule down the stretch here. They have to play the Liberty 4 times in the second half. Now, again, they're catching the Liberty without Stewie. It might kind of be, and they do a great job of beating the teams they should beat. But I do have some questions. And listen, they're 2-1 against the Mercury. But again, we haven't seen fully operational Death Star Mercury. The Mercury is a team that I keep coming back to when I look at futures for titles specifically. I really do think it's a big three. And I think of those big three, the Mercury, the price that I would want to be getting on, add to it. You've been listening to me and Dano say this for a bit now, but that's the team that I'm eyeing.
Yeah, I want nothing more than the Mercury to win it all this year. I'm in love. I feel like even getting to the finals, I would be ecstatic.
Yeah.
At this point. So yeah, I mean, I do wonder. I mean, like it's the 1 seed is going to be so valuable. I mean, depending on how Atlanta finish. I mean, I'm not counting Atlanta out from getting a top 3 seed. Like if New York falls to 4, like say they lose a bunch of games, like that changes everything. Then you get New York, and
it's a very good point.
That would be incredible. I would love that.
It would it's a phenomenal point, because then it does open up some doors. It really is like, okay, if New York's in the 4 and say that it's Atlanta that jumps, then Atlanta, say Phoenix, it's not like that they're waiting to get healthy. It says they can't get healthy. Atlanta's now potentially facing a decent path into the finals, where again anything can happen, especially for a 3-point shooting team. And theoretically, against if New York had to go into Minnesota in a shorter series, you've almost talked me into Atlanta being on this list as the cutoff point. Those 4 teams, in part because of some things being able to break. I'm not sure I'd be slamming Atlanta futures right now, but I think you've talked me into including them in the answer to this for the longest odds.
Yeah. I mean, if I just feel like they deserve some respect. That's all.
I like that a lot. All right, let's go to our second question here. This is a single question. Shockingly, we didn't have a bunch of Fever stuff to pair together. We could have included them in our last question, but I don't think either of us see them as a title contender, which is the short answer to this question of, can the Fever make a run without Caitlin being fully healthy? I don't think so. I think that they can, maybe sneak into the 4 or 5 range. I more than anything, I think the market is a little bit low on Indy without Caitlin, because I do think that they have been, like a pretty, not a good team, but like a playoff level team without her, which I think is maybe more than the market sees. But do I see them going on a run? I don't see that. And I also don't really see Caitlin this season being fully healthy, fully no rust, and able to kind of carry them on any sort of a run. So that's the reason I didn't bring them up in the previous conversation. I think we see eye to eye on that.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't like if she's back and they're a 7 or 6 seed. I'm terrified.
Right?
Absolutely terrified, especially in the new first round format where it's 1-1-1.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. So yeah, can they make a run? Like theoretically, but they would have to, for me, they would have to get to 6 at the minimum, I mean, you'd
Draw
want them.
Atlanta, maybe not to pick on the team we just were
Yeah.
on, but like get like the most
Yeah.
favorable of those matchups in the top 4.
Yeah.
So that one I think I think that they have played well without her, and I think that in the long run that is interesting. They can kind of, I think for Aaliyah Boston in particular, all the reps she can get are just going to pay off down the line. But I don't see this team really making a run without her, and I don't see her being fully back and fully ready to lead the team to a championship level. Maybe he was more implying, something less than that, but I don't quite see that. All right, let's move along to the next kind of cluster of topics. People really interested in the race for the kind of bottom single spot for the playoffs. We had Shauna asking, who's your pick to go on a second half run and grab a playoff spot? We had Greg asking, who gets the 8th seed in the playoffs, looking more like a 3-team race, Valks, Washington, Sparks. Gerard with a similar question, will Mystics plus 110, Valks plus 120, or Sparks plus 200 make the playoffs? And then we had John asking, is there any way the Sparks can sneak into the 8th playoff spot? We touched on this a little bit earlier. I think you're interested, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Sparks look the best right now. And the Kayla Thornton injury cannot be understated. And it feels like the Valks have played more games at home. I could be wrong. I don't have it in front of me. But call me insane. Call me insane. But today I watched Enrique play the best basketball game in her professional life as a team player. She had a double-double at halftime. She finished with 20 and 14. She didn't force anything. She was 7 for 15 from the field. Took good shots. And the Wings dominated this game. It was only a 10-point win, but they were up 30, 2 minutes into the third quarter. I think Louisa is incredible for this team. I think Lee is fantastic for this team. Haley Jones having a completely, probably saving your career with her play right now. You're getting good minutes out of your other rookies. And of course you have Paige Beckers, who honestly, there are times where I'm like, Jesus Christ, it looks like Kyrie. I would love to see their odds.
Do they not I was wondering if you had looked up. Are they not up yet?
They are not, but I see a lot of winnable games in August.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because the only counter I have for that, not the only counter, the only possible counter. I am a Dallas. I get talked into Dallas all the time, so I naturally was curious. They actually have, according to Tankathon, the toughest remaining schedule of the season. So that is a little troubling, but if it's a crazy number, I'm going to get talked into it, in part because I do think you're right to point out I think the Valkyries, who are currently the shortest odds, I doubted them before the season. I do think that things are starting to kind of move in the direction of, all right, we lost Kayla Thornton. Are we going to go crazy pressing for, an 8 seed in our first season, or can we get a little bit nicer pick? I don't think they fully shut stuff down. I think they just keep playing with stuff. They've been playing with stuff all year, but as we get deeper in the season, teams are now trying harder and harder. I think that's going to come against them. Teams are starting to learn their schemes a little bit more. I think that's going to hurt them. The Mystics, to me, are the team that they're kind of boring, but I think it's accurately plus 110. They're super consistent. They haven't won or lost more than 3 games in a row all season. They have the easiest remaining schedule of this bunch. I overlooked them instantly because I said Sparks. They've won 5 straight. They're getting Brink back. I kind of think this is a classic spot to go for the long shots, and it's wow, the Mystics just kind of did it. That was boring, huh? It's not much more than a gut feeling. There's a little bit of schedule stuff, a little bit of consistency stuff. I'm definitely intrigued by the Sparks, and I think at plus 200, the Valkyries are providing some value, because I think the Valkyries probably are the ones that I'd be fading. I don't mind the Sparks and the Mystics. Obviously only one of them is going to grab that 8th spot, and just I wouldn't go heavy on this market, I guess. We had a lot of questions about it, so I wanted to talk about it. but I don't want to go heavy at this, but I'm intrigued by the Sparks, but I kind of lean towards the Mystics being the most likely, with a sprinkle of obviously always going to be interested in Dallas because I keep being drawn to them. Since they got Lee Yuru, they are 7-8. By the way, it's just I think they dug themselves a little bit too deep a hole.
So they were 1-11.
They were 1-11 to start the season.
I guess the famous Stud Buds clip. Yeah. Will y'all beat Chicago?
I'm totally going to be talking myself into this Dallas team again next year and totally regretting it. They just do this every time. They can't fully put it together. But I think I would, if I were making the market, I would have the Mystics as a favorite, the Sparks as a second favorite, Valks third.
Yeah, agree.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the final cluster here. This was specifically for Dan. This is how we know Dano engages his audience and draws a certain audience. And listen, this podcast in general draws this audience because I've never received any pushback on all of our Aces hate. This is the Aces hate section. We've got
after a win too.
After a really good looking win, we have 4 questions of Aces hate. So the first one: are the Aces actually broken? This is from Aaron. Are the Aces actually broken, or are they on cruise control until the playoffs? Jake asks, is Becky fireable? Gray and Lloyd look bad, but the team should still be quite a bit better. Justin asks, with the Aces seemingly allergic to covering spreads this season, what's the over-under on how many times we hear effort from Becky Hammond's next presser? And will the market catch up to / on who the real Aces are this season? Then finally, John said, simply, why are the Aces doing so average this season? Is it just Jules' fault? Parentheses, it is. So, go off on the Aces, go off on Jewel. Even though fresh off a victory, maybe all of this hate will finally draw some pushback of people who are like, you guys got to let it be with the Aces. But talk to me about Las Vegas here.
I feel like John V, I'm going to find your email and I'm going to send you something because you made me laugh.
Guaranteed winner just separately.
Yeah, I'm going to send you something. That's hilarious. So are they broken? Yes. I'm trying to think of who they've beaten that's over 500, and Indianapolis maybe is the only team. Storm.
Seattle early in the season they had a good
Storm.
win.
Yeah, Storm. Crushed by the Liberty. Crushed by the Lynx. They did beat Mercury in Phoenix, which is a good win. Mercury didn't have Ka, but still, that's a great win. Anytime you win in Phoenix, wins in New York, wins in Minnesota. I give credit to.
They beat the Dream at home, but they also have losses.
I know that was the one spot. That was the spot. I told you that one.
Yeah,
that was
the spot. They have losses to the Mystics. They have losses to the Sparks, the Valkyries. The Fever twice without Caitlyn. They are wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, they should have lost to the Wings twice.
Yes, big comebacks.
But is Becky fireable? No, they don't even have a front office. I think Becky was handed a shit hand, but I do agree with Jake that they should be better. For all the talk about Asia Wilson being the greatest player on earth, people are already calling her the greatest of all time. I think you cannot regress this hard after being a unanimous MVP. Like, she was absolutely dominating last year and on both sides of the ball, and this year it's not the case. I do think more of the blame does go to the fact that admit it, they made a bad trade. I like to think that I was on the right side of history there, and I'll keep saying it. Like, Jewel Lloyd is not good on either side of the ball. She's been inefficient as hell. Chelsea Gray, I called it out from Unrivaled.
Different running a full WNBA core.
Yeah, I'm not going to say washed. I feel like it's disrespectful, but she's on the latter end of her career. And, but I can't put the blame on one player. I think it's an organization that doesn't have a front office, really. I guess Nikki Fargas is the president of the team, but I don't know. She calls people and tells them they were drafted. They drafted Aaliyah Nye, which I thought was like one of the smartest picks in the draft, and I give them credit for that. I think Aaliyah Nye has single-handedly been an X factor in winning games at Phoenix. But I don't see this team winning a playoff series. That being said, do you want to face them in the playoffs? Probably not, but I don't think Minnesota would be worried. I don't think New York would be worried. Phoenix, when they're healthy, they shouldn't be worried. Do you see this team winning a playoff series this year?
I very much do not. I'll start with the first question of, are they on cruise control? 1,000% they are not. I think we saw this even to a degree last year. Last year, the whole season was like, oh, this is, they've won a couple titles. This is natural during the season. And the Liberty are just better. This is not the Aces team that won the titles. Whatever the reasons may be, I'm with you in thinking probably the front office is kind of probably the top to blame. And I think you're right to hold Asia accountable. I think she has slipped, especially on the defensive side. Now, part of that could be that it really is a two-person team, right? It's Jackie and it's Asia, and there is not much else help anywhere else. So if she's got to do, all that much extra on the offensive end, it's tough to bring on both ends. But if you want to be in the conversation for, best player in the league and potentially a title contender, that is probably the bar that you have set. So I don't think that they are on cruise control at all. I think that this is not a very good team. I don't think Becky's fireable, in part because I agree with you that they just haven't given her the resources. I will say, I don't think it's a total coincidence that Natalie Nakase left and they look more human. I think she was really doing a great job there. We see that the game planning she does for the Valks, I think that is sorely missed from the Aces. I think that is something that they should, internally look to replace. And it's kind of hard to replace when you don't have a super active, engaged front office. That's the type of thing that slips through the cracks. So in terms of, covering spreads, I would not count on them to be covering too much spreads. I think the market is back in on them because of the Jewel Lloyd thing. I'm vaguely intrigued by the Jewel Lloyd thing, but I want to see it for more than one game. We've seen them flash at times and then they just fall back to earth. So I don't think you have to be worried about them, or if you're a fan, unfortunately, I don't think that you should be, we're now back. We've got Jewel to the bench and everything is solved. So I think there's still plenty of fair skepticism from you. I'm basically with you on all that.
They played 15 games in the last 2 years against New York and Minnesota. How many have they won?
Wow, this is a great question. Postseason included?
Postseason included. So they got one.
Yes. I will say 15 games. I mean, 5-10 sounds bad, but it also feels like they could even be worse. I'll say 5-10.
2-13.
Holy shit. Wow. That is nuts. I think that kind of says it all. That's you're not just cruise. If you're in cruise control, you get up for the big games. You're not 2-13 in your last 15 against those. That's a great stat.
And not just like losses. Like, these are their margin of losses to Minnesota. 31, 14. The next three. I'm sorry. I almost said something bad. I love this. 13, 11, 14. Haven't been within single digits outside of their one win against Minnesota. That was the first game their first game against them last year. So they've lost 5 straight now against Minnesota. And then obviously 1 in, 3, 6, 1 in 8 in their last 9 against New York.
That is wild.
It's terrible.
That is a fitting place for this podcast to wrap up. We are almost always hating on the Aces. I'm so sorry. It's always in relation to the market. Probably doesn't help that you got a couple Liberty fans, but again, I will always say I don't think that biases us. If we wanted to be out on the Liberty, we would be out on Liberty. Trust me. But with all that being said, if you'd like to tail some of the bets that we gave out here, look for the quick slip link in the episode description. Dano and I will be posting stuff in the Action Network app as well. So if you're not in there somehow, give that a download. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. If you are listening to podcast form, rate and review is what we prefer. My thanks to David Payne on audio, Gifford Gould with the YouTube squad. Dano, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, thanks to everybody for the questions. Let's enjoy a good 3-game slate. And August is upon us very soon.
And we're really getting into the witching hour. I'm laying out the schedule and all the content for the final few episodes. the mailbag's going to get us halfway to the playoffs. So again, very much appreciate it. Like Dano said, he'll announce some of the winners, but keep sending in questions. We'll keep that forum open for a bit. So love having these really good questions. Got a couple, like I said, that could be entire episodes and maybe will at some point, some off-season stuff as well. So for Dano and myself, like he said, let's enjoy this 3-game Tuesday slate and let's get buckets.